First thing I got to say, Ralf, man, is I'm a huge fan, man. It's really it's a pleasure to speak with you. It definitely is.
Thanks, appreciate it. Thanks for having me, by the way.
Oh, no problem. We got to see you guys twice. We're in Pittsburgh, in Pennsylvania, and we got to see you at the Altar Bar twice. And
Awesome.
man, you guys are killer live. I mean, it's not even just a show; it's like an event.
Wow, thank you. That's a great compliment. Thank you very much.
It
That's
really
how it's
is.
supposed to be as a metal band, isn't it?
Well, I tell you what, I couldn't even imagine what you guys sound like in a festival. I mean, that has to be like a, a total thrill.
This Saturday we're in Bakken again since so many years, so it's great to be there again.
Yeah, that's gonna be huge. Hey, for
Yeah,
the fans, I know we got a lot of fans. We got people that listening in, and we introduce them to to a lot of different bands, anywhere from melodic metal to power metal. For anybody that's that's just kind of starting in as a Primal Fear fan, how did you guys get the band started? I know it was you were supposed to be you had a shot at going into Judas Priest and the whole situation again, which I think you're awesome, man. I really do. So, how did that all get started?
Actually 20 years ago. I mean, you're right. I was preparing for the Priest gig, and I did some Priest covers back then, of course, to prepare. And then I had a show with the cover band, and the original players of the cover band couldn't come because there was a wedding, so I asked Matt and Tom to join in. And we did some Priest, and then we sat together and talked. I mean, we knew each other before from this local music scene. I was always in Gamma Ray in Hamburg, which is 800 kilometers away from Stuttgart, and so I was somehow like 5 years up in Hamburg doing my thing with Gamma Ray. And since I was doing my application for the job for Judas Priest, we went into some discussions and so forth, as you know, and Gamma Ray was about to having back Kai singing anyway, because he was starting to sing his songs again, and which is quite okay, but in the end it was not really all sorted out in the end. But afterwards we sorted out everything, so we're all fine now. It's so many years ago, so everybody's really fine and good. By the way, I'm going to meet Kai on Friday. They rehearsed for Halloween, so we just said I'm going to drive up to Karlsruhe, which is a 1 hour drive for me, and we're going to team up and have a lunch together and stuff and have talk. So we're still in very good relationship and friends after all those years. So coming back to the launch of Primal Fear, we did that in 1997, as I was then singing some songs for Sinner in the studio, just some choir and harmonies and stuff. And then we sat together and said, why don't we just do something and write songs, because you just can't sit around and do nothing, Ralph. That's what Matt says. And so we just did a demo, 4-track demo, and the guys from JVC Japan, they were still waiting for some material from me, because they wrote me a letter after the split of Gamma Ray that they were willing to work together with me in the future. And so I sent the full demo track, and immediately, like Japan and Germany, it was all postal, it was all mail, real paper mail back in the days. And 4 days later, a letter arrived saying that they want to absolutely sign this. And that was a great sign for us as a band, and really a confirmation, and it was a statement that we're somehow have some chemistry going on. And so we did that JVC, we did an album, and all of a sudden the record companies in Europe were also somehow having this competition to sign us, which is a great position. And ever since we have this position that record companies are interested in signing Primal Fear, so we are in a very good position in the market still nowadays. So that's great, So basically, that's how it started back in the days.
I'll tell you what, we as fans are definitely glad it happened that way. I mean,
in the end, everybody was happy. I mean, John, who joined Priest. It was Ripper. Is an absolutely fantastic singer, and what a wonderful guy he is. We met many years now, and also the guys from Priest, and everybody is lucky. I mean, I know it was sometimes a little bit of uncomfortable for the Priest guys to talk about me and stuff, because in the end I wasn't a singer, but they had to answer some questions back in some interviews, and I know it's not really convenient to do that. But anyway, everybody is fine. Everybody was happy that Rob came back. Everybody is really pleased with the situation they have. And back in the days, Primal Fear was starting, and it was also a good thing for the fans and for us as musicians in the end.
What was it like, back when you guys started, your songwriting process? I mean, when you went in to start Primal Fear, you and Matt went in. What were you guys looking to do? I know it's a big power metal side, but you guys have so many elements to the music. I mean, it's like it's heavy in all the right places to me, but it's melodic in the right places as well. And I think that's where you guys set yourselves apart.
You know what? We didn't even sit together and talk what we should do. We just did it. We just somehow came together. Well, back in the days, we'd even join in the rehearsal room, which is not that often nowadays. But we just came together in the rehearsal room and did what we loved. It's the 80s heavy metal stuff, and with some 90s elements, and we just went ahead and Tom had great riffs. Matt had great song ideas. I had great song ideas, and we just recorded what we have done in the rehearsal room. So we didn't even think about, what can we do? Let's make a plan or something. We just did what we love to do, and then basically that's why maybe, and I think so it is, it was so successful, because it's just honest what we did. It's just absolutely what we feel, and it still is nowadays. I mean, of course, you think you look left and right into other bands and also appreciate what they do and stuff. But in the end, right, when we make our music, we always, first of all, we have to love what we record, and then we release it. But basically, with every production, we have 15 to 20 songs which we are really happy with. And right, that's a great position. I mean, having such great talented songwriters in the band as well, and it's just a wonderful position.
I agree, and to bring up some of the the newer stuff that you did. I mean, Rule Breaker. Well, I actually did a breakdown of my our top metal albums for 2016, and that won it. I mean, that album right there is fantastic. I mean, from start to finish, and even the people that I talked to, like I have guys that they're on the radio here in the U.S. One of my good friends, and he got back and he said, "Oh man," he said, "that new Primal Fear is awesome." So,
thanks.
So
great feedback.
That is tremendous feedback. And how about as far as Rule Breaker? I mean, you guys went in with Francisco on the drums, which I think is an excellent compliment. I think he fits the band perfectly. I mean, he sound wise and everything. What were you guys coming off from Delivering the Black to this one? What were you looking for as far as writing style and different, as far as different elements to add to this band with Francisco on drums?
Well, I mean, the goal was to keep the pace and keep the level, and I think we did. And of course, that's by the way, these days we're writing new material, so we also keep we are keeping the level.
Right.
So that yes, I mean, we know that the last 2 or 3 albums were somehow the highlights so far, sound-wise, production-wise, song-wise. Yes, I mean, we had our highlights in the past with Nuclear Fire and Metal is Forever and so forth, and also, of course, back in the days, Dollars, and in the first album there were some highlights, Chainbreaker and stuff. So on every album there was somehow we can't call it a hit, but it was somehow a song which stood out a little bit in the end, a song or 2 or 3. But nowadays I think the whole album is really hearable from the first to the last song, and without saying the other albums are not hearable, but I mean, you know what I mean. I have a different approach as a musician. I go ahead and just if I'm really satisfied with what we have recorded sound-wise and how my voice sounds as a vocalist, I'm really happy with it. And that's basically what happened with the last 3 albums. If you are satisfied 100%, I think it's time to call it a day. So basically, if we are 100% satisfied, somehow this can't be somehow, because there's always somebody in the band, or I think everybody in the band is always saying to himself, next time I want to do it a little bit better. And I mean, that's in the end the thing which keeps us going to improve until we call it quits someday. Who knows?
Right, that keeps the fire burning too for you guys. I mean, you know, if you have the guys that aren't satisfied, you know, that's definitely the way to, you know, just to keep getting better.
Back to Jasko. I mean, he was absolutely the right guy for the band. We don't need somehow a jazz drummer.
Right.
We need a technical good drummer. I don't want to say that when I say we don't need a jazz drummer, I don't want to say that Jasko can't do it. It's just this band needs a straight 1, 2, 3, 4 beat, which is really hammering.
Right.
And actually, that's what happened with Jasko's drumming. And we don't need somehow a drum solo from second 10 to second to 2 minutes 50. That's not Primal Fear. You know, that's not Primal Fear. And basically, that's the reason why Jasko's really fitting so good. I mean, it's fucking hard to play an AC/DC drum, isn't it?
Right.
You have to do it. It's simple groove, like, but the hi-hat and stuff, you know.
Right.
It's just major important for a band, and not every drummer can do this.
Right.
Jasko can. So it's hard to play a simple beat, grooving and really good quality for the band instead for the music. And that's basically what we were looking for and what we have now.
I think you guys got it. I mean, you know, to me, when I put a Primal Fear album in, you know, it's never just, hey, I'm going to listen to one song. I'm listening the whole way through. I'm rocking the whole way through, and that's really a compliment to you guys, because it really is an excellent band. I mean, it's the premier power metal band in my eyes.
Thank you very much.
And what's the reaction that you're getting from the new live album, the live CD? Because it's excellent as well. I think it really captures what you guys are like, you know, in a live show. It definitely does.
It does, yes, absolutely. So everybody's really pleased, and also about the feedbacks. Everybody's really happy about it. It turned out well. I mean, I remember the gig. It was the 11th of the tour, having the first slide code, but you know, I saw on the video material that I was really focused, and sometimes not smiling so much, which I'm basically more doing on stage these days on the festival. I tell you, these days on the festival, we really enjoy ourselves. It's so much fun to be together with the guys in the band on stage and also off stage. So we really enjoy each other, and that's the reason why everybody is really smiling and having a good time. Especially when we did the Sweden rock show when Magnus joined for 5 songs. After the song The Club Fire, Magnus joined as a third guitarist. It was such a great chemistry in the band, and really everybody was so happy. And coming back to the live DVD, this is actually the difference I feel for myself, because everybody, like I said before, is self-critic. And I was self-critic, why are you not smiling more? It's a good thing, it's fun to be on stage and stuff, you know, but you know that you're being recorded. It's a little bit different when you're knowing that this is going to be fucking burned on DVD later. Also the vision, not only the sound, so you have to be really focused, and that's what I was. And in the end I said, it was a great gig, absolutely, but, you know.
Right. One thing I definitely wanted to ask you is your voice, you know, on stage, and I mean on all the albums, but definitely live. What do you do to maintain that? I mean, you definitely got the pipes, man. I mean, all the high notes and everything that you do live. I know that it has to take a hell of a lot of work.
It does. It's a different from to 30 years ago. I mean, I started really singing when I was 15, 16 years old, doing this metal bands stuff back in the 80s with my first bands in Stuttgart. And I started to do the Victim of Change screens and so forth, because as everybody knows, I was and am a big Priest adorer somehow, you know, because Ralf's voice was just out of the world. not from this planet, so so to say. But the thing is, after 30 years of doing it now, it's not so easy anymore. You have to do some maintenance, and the good thing is, as I'm a vocal teacher too, I am also doing this maintenance work, which I also somehow offer and recommend to my students, and that's what keeps me going. It's not that easy anymore, just like not warming up, going on stage doing it. That would take me somehow 5 or 6 songs to warm up my voice, but I want to be on spot on the first song already.
Right.
So that's the reason why I am warming up properly, and with my certain techniques I have, and certain warm-up procedures and routines I have. So I'm really happy that it's still there. I feel a difference, but I'm happy that it's still there when I'm warming up.
Do you feel like as a vocalist that you get better every year? And I know a lot of the guys we talk to, it seems they say that the older that they get, the better that they sound. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, it's a different. Somehow there's different techniques to sing, and I can go a little bit into that theme. There's a chest voice singing like Ronnie James Dio did, and also Dickinson also really does a lot of chest voice singing. Is sounding great, and Dio also was just a world champion in the chest voice, right. Having this certain technique of going high with the chest voice and being really good support from the diaphragm. And those singers, they can do until forever. They can do it forever. And then there's this certain screaming head voice stuff,
Right.
You got the screams going on, which is so-called belted head voice singing, which is really aggressive, and it's an unnatural way to sing as a male vocalist. Right. So it's also not healthy. So in the long term, it might destroy a little bit of your internal vocal cords. It's just, you just imagine you got a whole mass, and the vocal cords should be somehow closed, and so it's entirely when you sing. But if you got an internal weakness because of the vocal cords wearing out, because of that screaming every day on tour, for months, then of course it's just a tissue which is working out. It's a muscle. Right. And you have to do some maintenance to keep it going. But you can really extend this maintenance to a certain point, but then it comes to a physical end of all of that, where somehow maybe some singers out there have arrived nowadays, and I knock on wood that I still have a decade left to sing like that. It's not easy. It's not easy. Once again, the belting is it will be sounding weak when I do it unwarmed up. It's sounding weak and very thin until I get the whole mass to work again. Right. And that's taken a little bit of a routine, as I said before.
Well, you do it well, man. I tell you what, there's no doubt about that. It's always great to hear you. How about as far as some of the new things coming out with Primal Fear? I know you said you had new material that you're writing and everything. Is there a new Primal Fear album in the works coming out within the next couple of years?
Absolutely. We are recording in the last let's say November, December. Let's say October, November, December. We're starting to record already, and. The good thing nowadays is once you have a demo with the right tempo, I can start to sing. I don't have to sing everything in about 3 weeks. That's what we did 15 years ago when we had to do everything in the studio. So I had my 10 days, which is also somehow a luxury, because I remember having 3 or 4 days singing an album. Right. But as I said before, I'm not like 25 years anymore. So it's good to have months now to sing an album, and not only weeks and not only days. Right. So that's the big advantage. If you have the tempo of the song, you can already do your vocal recordings in my studio here at home in a professional manner on the demo, because you have the tempo and then fly in the files in the original recording of Chesco later on, Right. And that's a good thing nowadays. So that's the advantage of technique nowadays, which doesn't mean that I use so much of technique when I sing in the studio. Of course, I have my compressors, but that was always there. That was always also in the 80s when we recorded the 24 tracks. Right. The 24-track tape machine, we also had compressors and stuff. That's basically normal. A compressor is not somehow a fake helper or something. It was always there.
Right.
So, but I'm still recording my voice as long as I'm satisfied and as long as I think the pitch is correct and so forth. So those new helpers like so many pop bands use nowadays, they don't really work in heavy metal and rock and roll music. You can really hear when those helpers are used. And some voices, it doesn't really even work. I tried it once, and it went certain strange noises would come down, but they're not really working for my voice, so I have to sing properly, which is good in the end for the product because it's honest. And I would be a liar if I never did any copy paste things. Of course, if you have a good chorus, you do a copy paste to the second chorus or the third chorus. But my goal is to sing as much as I can. So on the last record, I sung the second and third choruses, and maybe I just copy paste the harmonies in the end to be as authentic as possible in the end, because I totally hear what somehow when something is copied, you somehow lose a little bit of the spirit of the song somehow. Right. But why the hell should I not copy a chorus if the third chorus if the third chorus is not sounding as good as the first? I just copy the first chorus, and that's also very, very normal.
Right.
And by the way, that's also what happened 30 years ago when there was tape machines. You had also a second tape machine where you flew in the choirs, but it's just a matter of being a good technician in the studio and a good producer to fly in the chorus on the right spot. It took a while. It also took a while. It was not first take. If you fly in choruses, it's hardly a first take. There's a lot of tries until it fits.
Right. Exactly.
So basically, it was working in the studio. Everything which sounds good in the end is permitted,
I agree, and that definitely comes across, everything that you said right there, because you're, the quality that you guys put out. I mean, there's bands that just put things out, and you could tell, hey, the quality's not there, it's not rushed, but you could tell the professionalism that you guys apply, and the quality of the product is, it's superior. You throw a Primal Fear album on CD, and you know what you got there, and that says a lot to us as fans about how great you guys really are.
Basically, that comes from back in the days when we were still rehearsing our asses off 3 or 4 times a week. Right. We met to rehearse when we were young, right. and it's still paying now because we know what we do. It comes from that time when we were rehearsing, and I think nowadays the band miss a little bit the rehearsing part of the music business. Right. So to be honest, we don't rehearse so much anymore because we're coming from different countries and it's not so easy logical wise to rehearse nowadays. But of course, when we record a new album and before we go on tour, of course we team up to rehearse that thing because otherwise it's not working.
Right, exactly. So what's the next the next thing, like some of the things that are up and coming for Primal Fear? I know you said you got the you got Walking Again and some of the other festivals. What do you guys have coming up that you want to talk about?
We have Walking the next weekend on Saturday, and we will be the very next week on the Leyendas del Rock in Spain, and then there's going to be the Summer Breeze. Then there's 2 weeks off. I'm on holiday then with my boy.
Oh, that's good.
Then the 1st of September is a show in Haigerloch, Germany. It's a Motorradtreffen. It's a bicycle festival, motorbike festival, and then we're going back to Russia. We're going to see Moscow and St. Petersburg, and another thing is in negotiations, which is close to Russia, which I can't talk about because it's not confirmed, but it's close to be confirmed. Sure. So we're going to be there the first time. It's about, I think, a very quick tour, 3 or 4 shows in 5 days. And then we have 1 month to work on the album. until we go in. We are going to Holland to have a show there, and then we're gonna have another show on the 7th of October in Gießen, Germany. And there's a last show in Belgium then, on the 14th of October, which is going to be so far the last show of the year, but it's not over to negotiate new concerts. There's going to be some Christmas stuff we're going to do for sure.
Right.
But basically, we are, after the last shows in October, we were basically working on the new material to really focus on songs and stuff to record in the studio.
And we're definitely looking forward to that. I'm always looking forward to seeing you guys live too. So make sure you keep Pittsburgh open as a date, man, because you guys we're guaranteed to be there.
As you know, it's not so easy. You know, we always need working visas to come to the States.
Right.
I mean, everybody thinks it's so easy, but it's not. I mean, those bands coming from the States to Europe, they don't need a fucking thing.
Right.
But we have,
I know, it's crazy.
We always have this prior work and costs. I mean, there's a lot of expenses to buy visas for everybody in the band,
right,
and the technicians and so forth. And then you go to the States and have another costs and so many tax you have to pay here and there with city tax and so forth.
Right.
Nobody's really imagining how, is really thinking about what that is for a band. It's not that easy.
Right.
You know, and then I heard, because your new president also, you know, vice versa. Now the Europeans want to do also the visa things for the American, and then all of a sudden there's a big bitching. Oh my God, what the fuck do they think they are? And what the fuck?
Right,
we always have to do that, you know. So
right. It's
anyway,
crazy, Ralf.
I don't want to be so political, but in the end, it's not that easy for a band to come. And for the musician in me, I always would like to play everywhere in the world it's possible to come, you know.
Right.
But sometimes there's so many surroundings, like promoters and stuff, which I don't have to deal with. Our management does. I'm happy about that, luckily. And so many things are happening before we can confirm stuff or just cancel stuff, because sometimes it's not doable. If you have people to pay in the band, you have the responsibility. You know, it's a job, and everybody is also earning, of course, their daily income with what they're doing. And if we are just we did that in the past, doing shows for zero. It happened, and
right.
Because we love to play, but in the end, you can't do it all the time, you know.
I agree with you, and it does. It's really a shame that we have to do that for bands here in the U.S. I mean, there's so many great foreign bands and so many. And I'll tell you the truth. I mean, the way I look at it is I like the foreign bands better than the U.S. bands. I think you guys have it. You guys have it together. I mean, there's more professionalism there. I'm not taking a shot against the U.S. bands. It's just the way I feel. Yeah. It just comes across to me as that way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
well, yeah.
I know it's rough to say that. I mean, to get you over here, and it's a shame that you got to go through that. But unfortunately, that's the way it is.
We also got used to that. I mean, we also need a visa to go to Russia, so it's no new thing to us. But it's a fucking somehow pain in the ass work to do, to fill out
right.
everything. You know, is your intention to come to the United States for a terrorist attack? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Stupid question, isn't it? I mean,
it is crazy.
And you have to go through somehow, like paperwork from hell before you come to the States. We have to travel to Frankfurt, which is somehow for us 2.5 hours from here,
right,
to go to the embassy and to have an interview there before we get a stamp into our passports that we can come. So it's not that easy, you know.
Wow, that's crazy. That's really a shame to hear that. Well,
yeah, but it's the way it is, and you can always see smiling faces when we are in the States, because nobody really thinks about the shit work behind it anymore. Because everything, I tell you one thing, it's not that easy. I'm a family father. Well, I'm not a family anymore, but with my boy, I'm a father, and it's not easy to leave the child back when you're touring. And it's also not easy to be in this tin can of a nightliner bus for 5-6 weeks, together with 15 other stinking people, including myself, and even more sometimes, and travel the states and travel everywhere. You know, it's really a sacrifice.
Right.
I don't want to bitch, it's my own choice. But you know what? I mean, for the 1.5 hours on stage, it's just great again, you know. It's just a big sacrifice, and you know what you're doing. When you're on stage, it pays for everything. Because and the good thing is, that's the good thing behind it. I never saw it as a business. I have to earn money with music. It's a good thing because nowadays it's my job and I have to do, but and I never started to make music I want to be rich. I never started to make music I want to have, you know, want to pop women here and there because I'm a rock and roll star. I only learned the guitar and learned to sing because so many women like it. What a fucking bullshit. That's bullshit, you know.
Right, it is.
So it's really because it's passion and coming from my heart, and that's why I still do it. And for the 1.5 hours on stage, it's worth everything, you know. And maybe one day when I'm gonna die, of course there's the other families going on holiday 3 times a year, going skiing 8 times a year, which I can't afford because I'm a self-employed musician. Right. And of course sometimes I think I would love to have that life too, to afford me things and stuff. Right. But hey, in the end, I'm lucky, I'm rich in my heart to do that, you know. So many families are lucky, which are really I'm happy for them. I don't envy anybody, but so many are not lucky, which are rich, who are rich, you know. Right. They would love to have a life like a musician life, you know. They would love to have a life, but if they see the flip side, then again they would help them out of it because it's not convenient, you know. Right. It's I could talk for hours. I could write a book about that, man.
Oh, I'm sure I mean, if you do it for a passion, I mean, that's you know, that's really, you know, what you want out of life. I mean, you need to be happy that way, and you know, we appreciate you as a musician, man, because I know, you know, what you go through, and it's it needs to be appreciated as the art that it is. I mean, it's somebody's soul that they're bearing for you. It's you know, it comes from the heart, like you said, and that's really what it's about, and it's appreciated. It's definitely appreciated.
Yeah, and I also hate sometimes all the bitching from what people, you know, they're never satisfied with anything. If the show was, you know, you have a bad show, my God, hey, come on. I mean, we're human beings. Right. And if it's too good, everybody, oh my God, this is playback or shit, you know, you can't sing like that. So what the fuck? I mean, I'm screaming my ass off out there and screaming my heart out. You can almost see my cords bleeding. Right, and then, oh yeah, it's playback. Yeah, of course. What the fuck?
Yeah.
and then you have a bad show. Oh, wow, he had seen better days. He's getting older. You know, so many fucking idiots out there. I can't believe it. You know?
There is.
They never knew how it is. They never know how it is. And all those wannabe musicians bitching in the background, being the keyboard warriors, you know, being those guys writing on Blabbermouth or wherever and hiding behind,
right.
You know, what. I wrote a song about that on my solo album back in the days.
Right.
Cyber Freaks. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
There is a lot of that there too, and it's a shame. I mean, anything that we do as far as reviews or anything, if I'm not a fan of the music and I can't give a positive, you know, if I can't give a positive review on it, then I'm just not going to review it. I mean, I think that's an insult to the artist. I think it's an insult to any promotion that the artist is trying to do, because there are fans out there that like that music. So why should I throw something out there that's garbage and it's going to jeopardize somebody?
If you have to do a review, I totally understand this is a job too, but then maybe as a reporter or as a guy who's writing this report, maybe try to be smart and think about the circumstances and why things happen that it didn't sound like maybe he wants to do, and he wants to hear it. And in the end, it's also only his opinion. Maybe you should also ask some other people around there who was just going nuts and crazy for the show, or also for an album or whatever. You know,
right?
It's only one opinion, which is somehow the critics back in the days in the newspapers and the magazine and so forth, and nowadays also in the web scenes and so forth. It's just one opinion.
Right. And how about any last words, Ralf? I know you got things to do and busy and everything, but
I have so many works. I'm really surprised about myself speaking so much. Anyway, yes. I mean, thank you for having me here as an interview, and say hello to everybody out there. And we'd love to come to the States, as you know now what it takes to come to the States.
Right.
But let's step by step. Let's record an album first, and then we're gonna see what's happening next year. Maybe also on a huge festival again in the States. Why not? But where's this gonna be released anyway, John?
Well, this is what I was going to ask you. We could do it two different ways. We'll either write out the interview, or we do a recorded version of it and put together a nice presentation. So.
Yeah, let's do the recorded version. I always like to listen, and people maybe don't read so much anymore. They're they're so lazy they just want to listen to it. It's the same here. I mean, what I wanted to say, I like to do more of the audio videos, the audio interviews, and not the typing. I hate the fucking typing interviews. Right.
Yeah, we don't do anything to where we send anybody, anything. I mean, you guys have better things to do than that. And it's more personable, face to face. I mean, we like to actually hear, what you want to say.
Exactly. You can always react to each other. So it's a conversation. That's
exactly.
Anyway, you're gonna send me a link where it's gonna be released, and I can share it on my site or whatever. Okay?
You got it. We'll put it together nice for you. And hey, last thing I want to say is, man, I really appreciate it. I appreciate you as an artist, and like I tell all the guys that I talk to, thank you for what you do, because it's such a part of my life, and I relate back to things for the music, and it really is it's something that touches the soul, man, and you do it well. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.